what do you want to be when you grow up? Stop asking. That's not the right question, in my opinion. What I am starting to ask, what I've asked high school kids in the last 3 years since I've been back in this role in Philadelphia, is asking them, what do you love to do? What are you great at? What are you passionate about?
Mhm.
Like those three questions, and invariably and then they're like, oh, you don't mean doctor? What are you passionate about? And wouldn't it be great
If you could
for
do
you
that every day, right?
every
Yeah,
day?
every day. Yes.
You're great at it. You make a difference. And how are you going to improve where you are, whether that be your neighborhood? Start in your home, your dorm, your neighborhood, your block, right? Your city.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Brighter Together podcast. My name is Janet Courtney, and my guest today is Tomas Hanna. Tomas is the Associate Superintendent at the School District of Philadelphia, obviously in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Tomas, thank you so much for joining us today.
Janet, I can't tell you how happy I am to join you and to just share the work we're engaging here and how we can be brighter together. Appreciate it.
Absolutely. So tell us what's happening in your neck of the woods and what Philadelphia is doing, because I know there's good stuff happening there.
So I'm thrilled to do that. So the School District of Philadelphia I am now in my 36th school opening, not just in Philadelphia, in a number of school districts, but Philadelphia is my home. It is where I was born and raised, is where I raised our children. And so I'm thrilled to be able to spend time supporting the education of our students here in the School District of Philadelphia. I do believe that education is absolutely the equalizer and enables young people to make choices, to have options, to do that which they would like to do and what makes them happy, and sort of pursue their passions. And so we serve. I've got the privilege of serving close to 60 high schools. Here, secondary schools, nearly 40,000 students. The district of Philadelphia serves over 200,000 students in both school district schools as well as charter schools. So we are one of these one of these districts that really believe in choice and in options for families. And I am personally agnostic to where great instruction happens. Wherever great instruction happens, you can find me, and hoping to figure out how we can scale up around this work. I'm really thrilled to say that in 3 years of the current superintendent's leadership, our superintendent's name is Dr. Tony Watlington. He has, over the last 3 years, led this district through a very robust strategic planning process, which we refer to as Accelerate Philly.
Ah,
And
nice.
what we want to make sure happens, our goal, frankly, is to be able to offer young people options so that they can just do what they wish to do and dream the big dreams. And for us to be able to do that, they've got to be prepared. And so what Accelerate Philly allows us to do is sort of be very, very strategic around the kind of work we want to do and be measured upon and be held accountable to. And so our big three lifts are our kids in school, because if they're
Yeah,
not in
that's a big
school,
one, right?
number
Hmm.
one, I mean,
Hmm.
real back to basics kind of stuff here, right? Number
Absolutely.
two are our teachers in school, because we know that the single most important factor in the life of a student and their progress is the quality of the teacher in front of them. The second most important quality is the strength of the leader, the school leader, who is driving this bus. Notice we didn't say school board, we didn't say associate superintendent,
Nope.
we didn't say the mayor, right? They are all like actors in this play, as it were. But the real performers are the students, the teachers, and our school leaders. And so we're really thrilled about that. The third one for me on the secondary side that sort of is very important is a desire to reduce students who are dropping out of school,
Yeah,
right? Because if they're not in school, teachers aren't in school, learning's not happening. But if you decide to leave completely, for some of us, we feel that that's a life and death matter,
for sure.
right?
Absolutely.
Especially in the city of Philadelphia, where we are, if not, we are identified as the poorest large city in the country, right? And so we've got a lot of challenges here. I'm really happy to share with you, Janet, that when we say to take a look at some of the data, because of course data is important,
Hmm.
but I'm not going to give you test scores. right? Because
Good.
for many people, test scores are important.
Yeah,
The testing is important, but it's not the only measure by which we are going to define what success looks like.
absolutely.
And so, year over year, I can share with you that from March 2024 to March 2025, we've seen an 8% increase in student attendance. We've seen a 7% increase in our teacher attendance. And I'm really thrilled to share that we've seen our dropouts be reduced by 35% year over year.
Wow,
So,
that's impressive.
well,
Congratulations.
thank you
Yes.
for that. It's our teachers, it's our principals, it's our families, it's our young people, it's our community, it's law enforcement, it's therapists, it's all the folks who do this work to ensure young people feel
Yes.
heard, have voice, feel safe, and just have hope. One of the things we know is that hope is unfortunately not front and center for many of our children and families where they actually don't feel hope. And so part of what we try to do is provide spaces in schools where young people can just dream the dream. And it's not easy. We've got a lot of work to do. Trust me, we have a lot of work to do. But we're really thrilled about that kind of work we're doing. I'll give you one more data piece, and that is we believe that students, yes, the academic piece is important, but the notion of young people engaged in the arts is important for us. Young people engage in what we refer to as career and technical education. For those who are my age, that was the old vocational ed, which is
Right?
not grandfather's vocational ed anymore. And so we measure student performance, and I use the NACTI is an acronym for something really important that means how kids did in CTE courses, and so forth. And we've seen actually in the last 2 years a 13.5% increase in our students who are scoring advanced and who are scoring proficient and advanced in those areas. And that's important because young people who are able to walk away from school with something in their hand that shows
Hmm.
that they have a skill is important. So if they choose to go to, engage in higher education, that's great. If they choose not to, they have something in their hand that can potentially get them paid. I learned of a young lady who's in one of our CTE schools who's a welder, training to be a welder, and has already been offered a job prior to graduating high school at $34 an hour.
Wow.
She wants to, however, go to college because that's what's important to her, go to a technical school where when she leaves, she'll be able to make $56 an hour, right? And so when we hear and it's a young lady of color, right? So
Right.
think about that, right?
Absolutely. Amen. Yeah.
Yes. So there are a lot of stories like that in the school district of Philadelphia. Really, really proud of them, and just wanted to share with you like those pieces that we're engaging in, and very proud of it.
So what I want to dig a little bit, if you
Sure.
don't mind,
Not at all.
on what are you doing to get the kids in school? I absolutely 1000%. You got to be there,
Gotta
and the fact that number one is get the kids in school. Well, your number three is similar to that. If they're not dropping out, they're in school, right? We want that. I love that. So, what kinds of things are you doing to get them to come to school, to get them to want to come to school?
So what I'll share with you is that for a minute, and this doesn't cost a lot of money, right? So it is making sure that we create welcoming environments in our schools,
Nice. Yes.
right? And that's difficult, right? That's very
Can
difficult. Our
be.
young people go through many issues, and we've got young people who are just struggling with so many things, and so why not create a great environment where you want to continue to come back to, right? Also, and schools that are welcoming environments are places where if you're not there, you're missed. Right? And
Yeah.
so,
Someone knows.
when you ask young people the question, well, why did you drop out? They answer, because I could. What do you mean because you could? Well, because I was out a couple of days and no one checked up on me. No one followed up on me, right? And so what we're working through now here in our schools is number one, making sure that our teachers and our school leaders and whatnot, are very, very in tune to who they're working with. That they build wholesome, positive relationships for young people, right? That we can, that we can tell the signs when someone's not feeling quite right.
Yeah.
In our comprehensive high schools here, Janet, our kids have to go through metal detectors, and I wish I could say that when you exit the metal detector, you're in Hawaii, right? Because you just you went through TSA. It's not
Right. Right.
TSA, right? It's
Right.
school. right?
Yeah.
And so there are concerns about that. But the idea of being in schools and seeing a young person go through a metal detector and just welcome with a smile, hey, how you doing? Or you don't look okay. Is everything okay? You weren't here yesterday. What is there anything we can do? And things of that sort. Or if we're aware that you may have had a bad day yesterday, hey, we good? We talked about these issues, these things. What does that look like? And so, starting your day off that way is truly important. I've been in our schools where I'll go in to visit and I'll see a student at the secretary's desk, the secretary making a phone call at 9:30 to a parent saying, "Hey, just want you to know she made it safe. She's here. They're late,
Yes.
but she's here, right?"
Right.
And so those are the types of relationships we are really trying to build. Is it 100% perfect? No, but that is the vision of this district, of this leadership, to ensure that these types of relationships are built. The other thing I would say that we're doing that's relatively new is, and I'm really proud to share, we've engaged with a group called Hazel Health, and this is an opportunity for our schools to engage young people to avoid a student, for example, having to leave early because they've got a doctor's appointment, right? To engage in an online opportunity where you can have a parent come online with the student and receive some sort of health care to be sure that they're in a good space. That could be mental health, it could be something around some kind of malady and things of this sort, to avoid having a student miss
Leave school.
school,
Right.
leave
Yeah.
school, and it's completely confidential, and we're really excited about that. And we'll be following up to see how that takes. But that could be a game changer, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Who might leave and things of this sort, and what that would look like. So,
Well, then you're going to identify issues like if a child
right,
needs health care and there isn't any, and you've got this
absolutely.
program, you can identify a child that something might get lost or missed, or yeah,
Absolutely. I
absolutely.
mean, the other strategy we use, and it's really a strategy that begins in ninth grade, right? We're very keen on ensuring young people are on track to graduate, that they've got the right courses, that they have the right credits, that they're doing the work that they have to do. And so what we do here is, we have, in a number of many of our schools, we have ninth grade academies where we really cater to the needs of our ninth grade students who are coming from different middle schools across the city, to bring them in and sort of engage in this manner. And in fact, I was in one of our high schools today where we were seeing a number of schools are coming to visit to see what they do, because they do this work really well. How they do advisory, right? Where they have a portion of the day, or an extended day, depending on the school model, where advisors, teachers, counselors, and others are working with students to be sure they know what's going on in school, right? What's happening? What don't you want to miss? Hey, report card conferences are coming up, or whatever that might be. To do like those announcements that we tend to do, but also like, hey, there's a college visit, there's a college trip, there's this going on. How do you want to? Do you have your permission slips? Let's make sure this happens. Hey, you've missed a few days. What are we going to do about this? Have you caught up in work and things of this sort? And in some cases, you've got these advisors who are reviewing grades and how students are doing, so that we're not waiting to the
Until
end of
it's too
the month.
late, right? Yeah. Hmm.
Like I shouldn't find out in March that Tomas has been struggling in
Right.
March. I should know something happened. And so we've seen that when because Janet, in the spirit of what gets measured gets done, when you speak to young people about how they're doing and what's expected of them, something really amazing happens. They know the rules of the game. They're being held accountable. They're not being embarrassed. They're not being told, they're being said, "Hey, this is the map. Like, what does this look like? What can I do to help?" Or, "Wow, this is amazing. You've gone from a 60 something to a what did you do? Let's talk about that, right?" And celebrate young people. And so that's something else that we're doing around ninth grade, because we know that if a ninth grader doesn't make it to 10th grade and is not on track, the chances of them graduating are greatly reduced,
Right.
right? And
Right.
so we've got that type of work happening. Then we do work here that's called positive behavior intervention supports,
Hmm.
where
Yep.
it's this idea of this notion of, like, when you do well, catch them being good. Like, when you do well, how do we reward that, right? When we say attendance is important, what types of things can we do? We got some kids who will go to plays in New York City. There's what we call a PBIS rewards room and whatnot. Play game rooms so that young people can gain tickets and opportunities that they've earned from doing their homework, getting better, doing great things. And so
Right.
kids can see that students can see that there's value in doing this and doing this work really well. So when you put all of that together, right? When you put together the notion of trying to create a positive environment, engaging our families. One of the things we're doing in the school district of Philadelphia is we are actually in September we're gonna launch what's called our Parent and Family University, which is engaging parents and families from across the district and helping them in all sorts of things. One, what is the math curriculum teaching? What does it look like, right? What is that? We've rolled out two curriculum, and we're going to roll out a third in science. So we've got a new English language arts curriculum, a new math curriculum, and we're rolling out a new science curriculum. And invariably, parents will have questions about that.
Yeah.
So
Right.
being able to engage across the city and say, "Hey, what does this look like?" is really important. How do you prepare a parent to engage teachers in a report card conference
Hmm.
if English is not your first language? Like, how do you do that, and what does that mean? So all of those kinds of opportunities, we're really excited about engaging. But when you take a look at it, it's the sort of the preponderance of that work that when you put it all together is an experience that kids want to engage in. Great opportunities, great people who are there to support you, hold you accountable. How do we get you back in? And so these are the types of things that we're engaging. We're seeing as you said earlier, we're measuring things and things are coming
35%
through.
is impressive. Yes, that
We're,
is
we're thrilled about it.
fantastic.
We're
Yeah,
thrilled about that.
it is. And you should be. And you should be. And I'll tell you, one of the things that all of us can say is we know that one teacher. You have that one teacher, and that's what you're doing. You're giving them that one teacher that's going to say, "You're doing it. You're giving them that positive, that person that sees them and believes in them." And how many people in their lives that don't even see them? I mean, it's just like, and you can talk about Glasgow's hierarchy of needs, and all of that stuff. But when they want to be there, one of the things that broke my heart, Tomas, during the pandemic was the kids that were just lost.
Yeah.
Those kids, the only safe place they had was school. And what did we do during the pandemic? We closed the school down. And those
Right.
kids got lost. We know there were kids that were just lost. And so
Well,
that was my heart, and so bringing those kids back in and finding those kids and making sure they're at school. Thank you for doing that. That's so
Well,
important.
when you mention a pandemic, a data point I neglected to mention was that our superintendent reminds us on a frequent basis that Harvard and Stanford did a report that the study around how are schools doing post pandemic, sort of the rebound, right? And what we're really pleased is that in the school district of Philadelphia, in English and mathematics, we ranked 1 and 2 in terms of bounce back when compared to other large urban districts such as LA and Chicago and things of this sort. And so, we're doing a lot now. I will say to you that there's so far to go from us because we actually started much lower than many other districts and so forth. So where you would see the line is sort of going up this way, but we were really way down here. So we're really pleased to see that. And like I said before, we're touting, we're touting positive outcomes. But we're also really clear that the outcomes, if it's too good to be true, maybe it is. And so
Mm.
we're really clear about let's do this right, right? Let's celebrate incremental growth because that's important. And so, we understand that this is going to take, we didn't get it, didn't take it, we didn't
Didn't
get
happen overnight, right? Yeah.
we're not going to get out of it in a day, but I will say that seeing some of the positive results are very very encouraging.
Fantastic. Well, I'm glad. It's refreshing to, and that's the whole point of this podcast is to talk about the good things. Educators, we get beat up all the time. All the time, and
Exactly.
there are so many amazing things. So sharing that and knowing that you guys are moving in a direction that will help these kids, and they are the future. They
Absolutely.
are our future.
And so we've talked a little bit. I've talked a lot about right what we're doing here, but the other piece I think is important is sort of what's available to young people before school and after school. right? And we've got a very strong partnership with the mayor of the city of Philadelphia, Mayor Sherelle Parker, who is this city's 100th mayor, and an African American female who is just absolutely a ball of energy. And the there is no daylight between the school district and our mayor, and which is amazing, right? Because all the political factors sometimes get in the way of work. Our leaders are very much focused, on young people. And so we've got a phenomenal a strategy called community schools. We're about 20 community schools that have been just provided with so many resources, which include access to community-based organizations, supports for parents, before school care, after school care, and things of this sort, trips all over the place. And so that's a phenomenal thing that we're doing there. And I would just share with you that in many school districts in the urban settings, you don't see that,
Right.
right? And in Philadelphia, I've been here long enough to know that wasn't always the MO. That was not the partnership.
Right.
Here, it's a really a real clear partnership. So, that's a real important thing. But I'd say to you that students who are engaged in programs such as career and technical education and athletics are students who tend to have the best attendance,
Yep.
right? Who
Yep.
who who may struggle but figure it out, right? Gain leadership skills, right? In terms of like learn how to win and lose, right?
Hmm.
Learn how to put the work in,
Yeah.
and
It's
learn
not all
sometimes that
winning.
even when you put the work in, you may not win the game, right? And
Right.
so
Yeah.
how do you manage that? And those are not, for me, those are referred to as soft skills, but those are like the skills that young people need to know, right? Because you're not going to be asked, what'd you learn in algebra class today? They're going to ask you, so how did you react when X or Y didn't go your way? What did you do, and what did you learn about it, and things of this sort. So, yeah, really thrilled, to mention those as well, because we want to continue to celebrate those young people on the fields, on the courts, in the pools, right? And also young people in classrooms, and and things of that sort. So we're really, just really, so encouraged about what we're
Right.
seeing with our young people.
Well, and I love that your mayor is investing in your kids. You can invest in. There's so many choices, but we know, you and I both know, that when you invest in education, that the kids win.
Absolutely
Because when you don't invest in education, you end up investing in prisons, and we don't
correct.
want that. And
Correct.
so let's give these kids an opportunity. Let's get them in front of people that care about them and want what's best for them, and also give them something to do once school day ends and mom and dad aren't home. And sometimes it's not even mom or dad, and so I love that. And it does make a difference. It does. Uh, for me, it's like fantastic. I'm speechless because I'm so excited with what you guys are doing. It's just, it makes me happy for our future, for our children, because they are our future, and we
They
know
are.
that.
Yeah, they really are.
And being, you and I have grown kids, sounds
Yep.
like,
Yep.
but that means grandkids are coming along at some point, and that's the next generation. And having an opportunity to work with those kids and know that there is positive, that there is something that is going to make life better for those kids. That's fantastic.
Right.
And you're doing it. You're absolutely doing it. And
Yeah,
I
yeah,
know that it's a
every
hard
day.
job. It's a hard job.
And to your point earlier, just given the big P politics around this country right now, like I said earlier, you go to a school, and you ask kids, teachers, and families, like, who's the the board member. They don't know.
No. Mm-mm.
And frankly, the board members would rather them not know, right? Because they want to know who's their teacher that's got their back. They want to know who's their school
Mm-hmm.
leader got
Yeah.
their back and is going to
Right.
provide for that. And so, because for us, the unit of change is not in central office. The unit of change is the schoolhouse,
Yeah.
right? And
Right.
so,
The
making sure
day
you
to day.
day
Yeah.
to day, great teachers, great leaders, collaborating, in a way, not always agreeing, but collaborating in terms of what this, work needs to look like, is really important. Folks that understand that kids deserve second, third, fourth, and sometimes fifth chances
Right.
to be able to get this right, is really, really important. Our adults need to remember, we remind them all the time, our parents are sending the best they have to us every single day. right? And they're not keeping the good ones at home. They're
No.
not. We have, we have who we have, and our job is to ensure that we meet their needs wherever they are, irrespective of the circumstances, right?
Right.
So when
Yeah.
we have kids who are engaged in our comprehensive high schools but do dual enrollment, which means that they're getting high school credit as well as college credit, right? That's important. We've seen that number grow. We've got a partnership with schools and the community college that are pretty much on the same campus, and you've got kids leaving their high school and walking over to the community college,
Right.
right? And to see that is just amazing. And there's some kids who are getting dual enrollment in their building because the college is going to them, or they're getting online and they're taking courses online. And so, it's amazing to be able to do a graduation with kids to say, you're graduating with a high school diploma and 15 college credits, 60 college credits. Like let's monetize that.
Yeah.
That's money in your pocket that no
Yeah.
one can take away from you, right?
Yeah.
And so
Yeah.
you
That's the thing about education. They can't take it
can't
away.
take
It
it away
can
from
never be
you.
taken away. That's for sure. Yeah.
Yep.
I get it. I totally get it. Okay. So I have one question that I always ask every podcast at the end of the podcast. And we've talked for 25 minutes and I'm super excited about what you guys are doing. And I love your passion.
Thank
If
you.
you could, and this is, it's, I'm sure there's 100 things you could think of, but the question is one, if you could miraculously solve one challenge in your school, what would you want to solve? Just one. Like miraculously, you don't have that problem anymore. What would it be?
Wow. Uh, well, you caught me there. Problem that I would solve.
Yeah.
Um, the problem that I would solve in our schools. I want to be like really, really innovative and creative, right?
Doesn't
Um,
have to be. Doesn't
so,
have to be.
so
Where's your heart? Yeah.
the problem, you know what? One of the problems I would solve in our schools, I'm thinking about our high school students specifically,
Mm-hmm.
right? After the pandemic, one of the reasons we struggled with young people coming to school is because during the pandemic, they were doing school on this.
Mm-hmm.
They were doing school on a laptop. They were working in kitchens and doing all because they had to bring home, they had to help support their families.
Mm-hmm.
So I would love to be able to figure out a way that we could uh ensure students who needed to work could do so, right? And some would say, well, those are internships, paid internships and things of this sort, right? I would love to be able to be sure that students, could continue to get really quality work experience, make money for their families because again in the largest poor city in the country, this is what our kids need. And so when you say, why
Yeah.
aren't you here? It was because I had to go to work.
I had to work. Yeah.
There was a
Mm-hmm.
way that we could figure out, like, take the minutes and sometimes the credit requirements away and just flatten this thing and just figure out, what it is that we could do to make sure, kids are able to support themselves, able to support their families, right? And are able to just, schools can be more flexible for them. That would be fantastic. We know that there are models out there, across the country that are doing this,
Mm-hmm.
and so we'd really love to be able to just take some of that stuff away, and in some cases take away the regulations and things
Mm-hmm.
that sort of
Yeah.
get in the way, right?
Yeah.
From students doing that. So I think for me that would be something I would do. Just open it up so that students are able to learn, call it learn and earn, right?
Mm-hmm. Oh
Um,
yeah, for sure. Yeah.
that's an issue,
Mm-hmm.
and go from I know you said one question.
It's
Uh,
okay.
what I implore our teachers to do, and I try to model the behavior, is cease asking the question to young people. I mean, this is probably a better answer. What do you want to be when you grow up?
Mm.
Stop asking. That's not the right question, in my opinion. What I am starting to ask, what I've asked high school kids in the last 3 years since I've been back in this role in Philadelphia, is asking them, what do you love to do?
Mm.
What are you great at?
Yeah.
Right? What are you passionate about?
Mm-hmm.
Like those three questions, and invariably you start, and then they're like, oh, you don't mean doctor? What are you passionate about? Right? And wouldn't it be great
If you could
for
do
you
that every day, right?
every
Yeah,
day?
every day. Yes.
You're great at it. You make a difference. And how are you going to improve where you are, whether that be your neighborhood? Start in your home, your dorm, your neighborhood, your block, right? Your city. right? Your country, right? How are you going to, because it's really daunting when you say, how are you going to make the world a better place? No, no. How about where you are right
Yeah,
now?
right now,
Right? What
your
will that look
sphere
like?
of influence,
Right.
right?
And then as you think about school, now that you have that, what are the things you need to do to be able to get there, to what you're passionate about, what you're great at, what you love to do? And so, so then that gets to, what does higher education look like? Where would you do it? May not be higher education.
May not, yeah,
May
yeah.
not be, right? And that's
Might be
perfect,
trade, might be,
correct, perfectly
might not
fine.
be any either of those for
That's
sure.
right. That's
Yeah,
right. So when you tell me you want to go to a college, well, why do you want to go to UC Berkeley? Oh, because it's in California. Well, what could they prepare you for? So like all stemming from what it is that young people love to do, what they're passionate about, then go from there, because then there, Janet, in my opinion, there you're meeting them where they're at.
right. Yeah,
And then you begin to sort of craft with them, what is their plan? And to me, like, that is just, I mean, to me,
because
like, that's an amazing opportunity.
yeah, because
And
sometimes people they've never even thought about what their plan is. A plan? What do you mean?
yeah, what are
I
you
just
talking about?
yeah,
Like tomorrow? Like tomorrow? No,
yeah.
it's okay. Well, it's all right. So,
Always
but
breaks my
that's
heart
what we're
when
here
they
for, to try
yeah,
to help
yeah,
them figure that out. What are those,
yeah.
what are those executive, organizational skills, those executive, functions that they
Yep.
need to know to
Mm,
keep a calendar, keep this, keep that. It matters. It really
yeah,
matters. So yeah.
absolutely.
So yeah, I answered two questions, and I
No,
like
that's okay, Tomas. It's
better than
great.
the first, but
Those
this
are
is
great answers. Those are absolutely great answers. And you're doing it. You're doing it.
working on
So
it.
thank
Yeah.
you, Tomas, so much for your time.
Oh, thank you.
Where should people go if they want to learn a little bit more about you and what's happening there?
So our school district website has so much information around the work we're doing, and so it is philasd.org, or you can just Google School District of Philadelphia. It'll come up.
It'll get you there. Yeah.
It'll get you there. You'll be able to see a lot of things in terms of what we're doing. Our strategic plan, which looks like this, it's Accelerate Philly with young
Nice.
people at the center, right? Sort of speaks to all the types of things we're doing here. And look, we would love for folks to visit that website. And if you've got a passion to do this work, and want to figure out how you can be part of that, our talent team is always looking for just the best, the best talent around. And so just know that we are just looking for people who want to join this cause, because it's a cause, right?
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
it's
Oh, I
more than
get it. Yeah.
a job, it's a
Mission.
cause, it's a
Mm-hmm.
mission.
Yeah.
And so, because at the end of the day, we want to be the fastest improving large urban school district in the country, and we know it's going to take a minute to get there, but we're invested,
Yeah.
to be able to do
And it
that.
can be done because you got good
Yep,
people.
it
Yeah.
can be done. And that really is important. Like, the people are important, and then the mindset's important, right? The to truly believe that, that it can happen. And that goes to the hope earlier. Some of our young people are struggling with that, but our job is to breathe that into them, and through all the positivity that we can offer. And then sometimes it's like, how do you deal how do you deal with tragedy, right? What are the skills you need to engage it? How do you take care of yourself? How do you stop a minute and breathe and just hold on, right? And so mindfulness is really, really important. So yeah, a lot of this work we're doing, and I'm pleased. I would love folks to check us out, and to see what we're doing. And you can, I'll do it. Like, my email is THANNA, so that's T Hanna at Phila PHILASD.org. T Hanna at Phila at Phila SD.org, and be really happy to just engage with folks, and other like-minded folks, or folks who want to push us on what we're doing. I love that too. It makes us better.
Yeah.
Makes
Yeah,
us better.
absolutely. Absolutely. Well, once again, great conversation. Love your passion. Love what you're doing. Thank you so much for being here and being a
It's
guest here.
my honor, and thank you for allowing us the opportunity to share what we're doing here in the city of brotherly love and sisterly affection.
Take care.